Now I'm going to show you a clip of an armored car robbery. It's about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then I've got actually a lot more to talk about than I thought, because YouTube's algorithm sent me about a dozen different armored car robbery clips that I didn't download them all, but I'm going to talk about this because I thought this was interesting. So it's 1 minute and 20 seconds, and then I'll make some talk about it. So hold on.
This is a single mom of either 2 or 3, depending on the news story that you read, who is working for this armored truck company, has a whole bunch of cash coming out there. And now watch the SUV to the bottom right. As she opens the cash truck, they're gonna pile out with 1 long gun and 2 handguns and flex cuffs. So you can see them here from the other angle where they jump out. Again, handguns, a long gun, a bag, flex cuffs, and she decides, nope, she isn't gonna give them any kind of a hard time. She actually gets on her knees there by the front wheel of the vehicle next to her, and then they are going to actually suss her down, grab her phone and her wallet and all that stuff, while they grab huge piles of cash out of the back of the armored vehicle, and then they are going to jump in their car. Now, if you go read the news story that I have linked in the description, I've linked several of them. The armored car company actually fired her right after this, apparently on a technicality. I can't find any follow-up as to why or what happened from there. But these guys got away. Apparently the FBI is still looking for them, but they don't have a ton of leads at this point. So I sure hope these guys get caught. Thankfully, she did not get hurt and they did get away. She did unfortunately lose her job, and that is where this one ends.
In the YouTube comments, there were a number of comments saying that this is an inside job. And they pointed out that if you're an armored car guard and you pick up cash like in the bags, that you bring it into the and it's an armored truck, it's not an armored car. An armored car is what like the president uses, an armored car, but an armored truck is what banks and stuff use. And anyway, though really, I see that being a dying business, because how many of you guys really use cash? I use cash 2 places: to tip my server, and there's obviously no restaurant service now, and to buy cannabis. And actually, the place in Rio Vista, you could use your debit card now. So it's like, okay. So anyway, if you notice, the robbers are taking bags of money out of the box of the armored truck. Now, from what the YouTube commenter said, that there is an internal safe in the armored box that the guard is supposed to put the bags of money in, and this armored safe in the armored armored truck box could only be opened up back at the armored truck company's headquarters. So the guard cannot open the safe in the armored box of the armored truck. And if you notice, these guys are dragging out a half a dozen bags of money. So if you are in fact robbed at the prem like this, at the business, the only loss should be the bags of money coming out of the business, and they shouldn't be able to go into the armored box of the armored truck and take out more bags of money, because the money should be in the armored safe. Now, I looked this up. Now, first off, one of my brothers, and this is decades ago, for a little bit drove for an armored truck company, and he said that they never handled cash. They handled documents, and he said once he had a really expensive piece of jewelry, but they didn't handle cash, so he really couldn't help me on this. But by God, Wikipedia and others are great help. And it turns out that what these guys are saying is true, that there is in fact an armored safe in the armored box of an armored truck. So the idea of the comments was that this gal was in on it because the bags of money, other bags of money, were not in the armored safe. Now I'm going to put a 49-second clip or so of her talking about it, and then of her saying no, and then I've got more to say.
Sabrina Gimeno. Did you fear for your life in that moment? Did you think they might shoot you? I did. I thought they were going to execute me on the spot. I thought I was going to die in that parking lot. All I could think about was my kids, and my boyfriend was going to get that call that I wouldn't be coming home.
So, what did Brinks do?
I was terminated.
Yep, Jimeno says she was told she was fired for violating protocol, despite being a model employee for Brinks in Denver for 7 years.
It always comes up in situations like this, whether or not this was an inside job.
Absolutely not, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just a mother of 3 trying to make ends meet with that job.
Now, I looked this up, and there are approximately 70 armored truck robberies in America every year versus over 4,000 bank robberies. So I'm not quite sure why people rob the armored car or armored truck when you could just rob the bank and they're going to give you the money. Well, the armored truck people are armed. Now, I'm going to point out a 22-second clip of Australia where the armored truck guards were robbed in broad daylight, and then I'm going to put a couple of clips about inside jobs of armored cars. And hold on here, I'm looking at my notes, and it seems to be a legitimate question of, how many of these robberies are actually partially or all the way inside jobs or not. So I'll show the clips and then I'll close.
In broad daylight, a Volkswagen Golf pulls up and out bursts a man armed with an assault rifle similar to an SKS. With the weapon aimed at them, the guards get down, while the masked man tries to take one of their guns. He gives up, then steals the bags containing hundreds of thousands of dollars and bolts back to the getaway car.
Here you see the gunman fleeing the shooting scene, one of them carrying that big bag of cash, running as fast as they can to this black Ford pickup truck before driving off with their stolen money. Here you see the gunman fleeing the shooting scene, one of them carrying that big bag of cash, running as fast as they can to this black Ford pickup truck before driving off with their stolen money.
What you're about to see really made an impression on the man who shared it with us.
How dumb can you be? Seriously. I mean, how did they think they were going to get away with this?
Watch as the Brinks guard leaves the Soap and Suds in Ward's Corner and goes around to the passenger side of his armored truck. A man wearing a motorcycle helmet comes out from behind the dumpster and vanishes from the camera's sight. But what we can't see, someone else does.
The gentleman's going to come across and apparently looked at this and wasn't concerned, didn't think it was a robbery.
He just stands there watching as the man in the motorcycle helmet calmly walks away with that blue bin. Now, watch this. The Brinks truck drives off. 2 minutes later, the truck pulls in again, and the guard calmly walks into the Soap and Suds, then comes back out to the truck. That's around 11:09, the same time police got a call for a robbery.
One thing that I found incredibly dangerous is that these armored car or armored truck companies only have one driver now. When my brother did it, they had 2 drivers, and one guy always stayed in the cab. And I have read where they used to have 3 drivers or 3 guards, where 2 guards would go into the business and then one would stay in the truck. And the ATM guys who drop off the ATM cash, they only have one guy, and I'm thinking, when you're bent over at the ATM, unless it's at the bank or they do it internally, my God, somebody can walk up behind you, blast you in the back of the head, take all the money, and you won't even know what happened. I find it incredibly risky. Anyway, that's your armored car story, though it kind of sort of is a story time of Joe. It's not really me involved, but I thought you'd find this interesting, and thank you for watching, and enjoy your day.